Greetings. This is another in-car game idea while on the drive. And this idea kind of hit me when I was playing some classic PlayStation 2 games. Still wish Sony would make the PS5 backwards compatible on a hardware scale, not a digital scale. Because some of us still have our old classic PlayStation 2 disc and PlayStation 3 disc. But aside from that rant, I was thinking of this game idea. And here's the title. Sly Cooper, Blast from the Past. Where it picks up right where we all left off from Thieves in Time. Where Sly is stranded in Egypt. And we have a jump cut of, I say, a couple of months. Where you start off as Sly. Well, hang on. You get the recap of what happened in the previous game and what led us to now. And you start off as Sly, and you begin talking to yourself, wondering how will you make your mark in history as to when and where you are. So you begin by not as much as stealing certain things, but instead leaving marks across historical landmarks, or doing certain things that will go down for forever history as you being some sort of legend or mysterious wonder. Excuse me, throat got a little dry. And along the way, you get help from your Cooper ancestors in this one. Here you get across, you learn about your Egyptian Cooper ancestor, and he agrees to help you out as you continue to help him out in making his mark across history and filling in the thieves raccoonus, where you write inside that book where you are or when you are and where you are. Where it's a small hint that over the years no one could understand until now. But along the way, you come across a surprisingly expected, while at the same time unexpected foe. Clockwork, but different. Because here's something that's always kind of bugged me ever since I've been playing all the Sly Cooper games. Why is it that Clockwork is the only character that looks like an actual animal instead of a anamorphic human beastkin like, where in the universe of Sly Cooper all the animals are humanoid, but except for Sly's family's arch nemesis, which is Clockwork, where he is full automatically owl-like or eagle-like. Well, he technically looks. Let's say he's an owl due to his eyes and facial structure. But we get a glimpse of Clockwork as to what he looks like if he were before all of the slap-on armor and everything, where we learned that Clockwork is an alchemist of genetics, where he is the smartest man alive. And what originally kept him alive, even during the prehistoric time, was something of a bit of a mystical item that fell from the sky. And I'm gonna take a page from Vandal Savage's origin and Immortal's origin, where during the prehistoric time, this meteorite rock fell from the sky, landing near Clockwork's tribe. And what happens is that Clockwork touches this rock, expecting it to crack open like an egg, but upon him causing an impact to it, it results in him in some sort of transferable thing to happen, where he gains vast amounts of knowledge, skills in alchemy, thievery, strength and athleticism, and a slow aging body, where when he went from the prehistoric ages all the way to the Greek mythology, the prime of the Greek mythology, ancient Greece, where the gods of Greeks existed and were very strong in beliefs. From then and there, he was a young man, and he travels the world, obtaining knowledge and more understanding of the world and its resources, to where, in order to perfect his thieving skills that he decided to obtain. But then he caught wind of the Cooper clan and how it refused to die, where he thought himself to be the greatest archaeological thief, but he knew that he was only second to the Cooper clan and the Paradox clan. And with the help of that is a little bit more of the background of Clockwork, where his actual name is, where he gives himself a new name, Sam Hoopviver, but he changes it to Clockwork since time has become his slave and his servant. And so we go back towards Sly Cooper, where he finishes helping his ancestor from the Egyptian era, and in exchange, he tries to help him out with getting him back to the future by trying to at least restore what was broken with the time-traveling blimp. But in doing so, the failed attempt to restore the time-traveling blimp results in Sly getting hit with some sort of Chronos-like time manipulating glass, which sends him constantly across the timeline. But unbeknownst to him and everyone else, this was intended because Sly goes through the timeline correcting it, because Clockwork had undoubtedly succeeded in wiping out the Cooper clan when he wasn't supposed to fail at it. So Sly goes across the timeline of helping out all of his clan survive. His clan members survive Clockwork in some sort of way, where Clockwork finally chooses to switch at first he decides to switch to a genetically altered body. Then he switches to a full-on machine body, because Clockwork fails to delete the Egyptian Cooper. We then travel a little bit into further beyond in the past to I would think it's I'm trying to remember, to ancient China, where we get a Cooper from the Chinese era, and Clockwork is trying to destroy that Cooper, but Sly winds up once again helping his ancient ancestor Cooper from being destroyed by Clockwork yet again. We then switch over to Bentley, Murray, and everyone else, and especially Carmelina, where they're all traveling across the world, looking at certain marks that Sly has left throughout time. Where Bentley decides to upgrade the time machine to where taking snapshots of either snapshots or not, or even looking through historical names of people could send them to a certain timeline. However, when it comes to Sly Cooper, he's unable to. Because Sly has become a time anomaly that the machine cannot understand. So they have to do this the hard way, which is by gathering up all the evidence that Sly has left in the past that would last all the way up until the future, for them to find and understand and learn of, in order to capture. And in doing so, the Cooper gang, without Sly but with Carmelina, go back in time to only catch the footprints of Sly Cooper, or better yet, they constantly miss him at the last minute, where they team up with his ancestor, where Sly Cooper's ancestor is the fill-in, and every time Sly and his ancestor have to battle against Clockwork, they are also battling against the Fiend. Each and every single variations of the Fiendish Five that Clockwork has assimilated. Where it goes out through history that in the first Sly Cooper game, the Clockwork's Fiendish Find game was not the original, nor were they the first. Where the Fiendish Find goes through a litany of, I would say, probably a generation from the prehistoric time to the present, which should be a lot. But we're in the Egyptian prehistoric Fiendish Find. You get the brawn on par with Mugshot. You get the brains on par with the Arachnid chick. You get the mystic on par with the crocodile lady. You get the tactician on par with the rooster from the third game. And so on and so forth, where it's all about where it's different variations of animals throughout the time, but it's always someone dealing with brains, brawn, tactics, mystics, alchemy, and and magic. And we go through about, I would say, 7 Cooper clan members. One from Egypt, like I said, one from Greek mythology, one from Chinese, ancient Chinese era, one from the I'd say not just the Wild West, but more of early American era. We get the we get the France era. We get the England era, early England. And we get the North Pole era, and finally the Australian era of ancient times. Where in each setting you get a new style of Cooper, and Sly, and when it comes to gadgets, Sly is already equipped with gadgets that he can either unlock by accomplishing certain tasks or cracking the safe. And when we go back to the Bentley and Cooper gang side, with Carmelina always being one step behind into figuring out where Sly is, as they work with Sly's ancestor on a final note. Tragedy always happens, where each Cooper that they work with at the end meets a untimely demise at the hand of clockwork, where it's not like they just miss Sly by a couple of minutes or hours or days. They miss Sly by a whole lot of years after each and every single Cooper's retirement to thievery, where they've already got another Cooper in line of training to surpass and to take on the family job. And this process repeats itself all the way up to the point where we get to the final boss of Clockwork, where Clockwork has decided to genetically alter himself to where he has become this gigantic, huge owl. And this is where they finally get to meet up with Sly, where Sly faces off with his dad against, I'm sorry, not faces off with his dad, faces off against Clockwork with his father during his thieving days. And strangely enough, you get La Paradox's father in the mix with it. And in doing so, we get to see what Sly's dad was like and what he looks like, how he sounds. And his father meets Carmelina, and where it's a good old reminiscence of where his father tells him that he's proud of him no matter what, and was surprised that he was able to perform well in passing all of his trials in the Cooper Vault, where Sly relays everything that has happened in his life to his father. And upon meeting up with Carmelina, it's a little bit of a father approval type of conversation he has with Carmelina. And due to Sly spilling the beans about what happened with his old gang, his father decides to change certain things in certain ways of how he has interacted with his crew, or will interact with his crew, where he would say, where things will start to change a little bit in the timeline. And once their reminiscing is over and their father-son bond ends, and they finally get to have right after he consumes a genetically altered body morphing formula that turns him into an owl-like creature that we saw in previous games of what he looked like before the metal parts. And so we get to this battle of this epic battle of Cooper versus Clockwork, where after it ends, Sly begins to return to which he originated from. And before he goes back, he tells Carmelina and the rest of the Cooper gang that he was in Egypt during just right after just approximately right in the BC era during Christ. And he fades back to the original spot where the Egyptian Cooper was waiting for him, where he describes it was only just a couple of minutes that had passed by. And so with this information that they've obtained, they go back in time towards that Egyptian era and retrieve Sly, where Sly fully announces his retirement. And during all of this time, a few members, such as Penelope, rekindled old relationships with Bentley, where Penelope decides that she wants to help out and apologize to Bentley for the betrayal. Even though, her reasoning didn't make sense in Thieves in Time. I will say that, now that I think about it, based on her Slide 3. And during all of that, Bentley is still kind of upset and lack of trusting towards Penelope, but throughout the course of the game, she restores the trust in Bentley and the rest of the gang, and they finally get together, where Penelope I'm sorry, I completely forgot to add the part where Penelope helped Bentley out, which was a major trust in giving him his legs back, where he's no longer in a wheelchair due to a cybernetic implant which restores feeling and movement into his legs. That was what was supposed to have happened in the beginning. I forgot to mention that part. And Bentley, instead of a wheelchair filled with gadgets, he has a backpack filled with gadgets, where it's a jetpack, an optic. It has multiple optic arms filled with bombs, and a gauntlet that helps him pickpocket. Where it's kind of like a magnetic vacuum pickpocketing style with Bentley. Carmelina, she has 3 types of shock shotguns. She has the shock pistol. She has the shotgun, and finally, last but not least, she has the shock rifle. The shock pistol is a semi-automatic rifle pistol. The shotgun is a pump action shotgun that shoots out multiple shock rounds, which is high damage. And the shock rifle is a rapid shooting fire rifle that shoots out multiple shock rounds at an accelerated rate. I thought we give her that. And as I was saying, at the end of it, we get to this cutscene where Sly Cooper officially retires, proposes to Carmelina Box, where they get married. Carmelina throws the bouquet and Penelope catches it, looks at Bentley, where he blushes. And the Murray and everyone decides to settle down and have kids, where we do see a pregnant Carmelina and a pregnant Penelope a couple of years later. But as we get to another secret ending, it shows Clockwork still alive, talking about doing two things. One, he will create a generation of his children growing up with hatred for the Cooper clan. And another thing I also forgot to mention, which was as a side bonus to this Sly Cooper traveling into the past, is that he meets up with La Paradox's father, and he decides to steer him off the idea of stealing the diamond and framing his dad for it, but helping him with another heist that will give him just as much fame. And notoriety. And in doing so, he never lets La Paradox never becomes Sly's nemesis, nor does La Paradox choose to erase the Cooper clan from history by sabotaging each and every single ancestor. Instead, what happens is that, unbeknownst to him, Sly Cooper gets new memories of him and La Paradox being friends, and of respected rivalry of who could steal what, where it's all just, they're not teammates, but they are instead rivals throughout the years. And in doing so, he does create a paradox where it does send him back to where he fixes the timeline to where he goes back to where the time blip landed him. But in doing so, it was just rewritten as the Paradox trying to making a mistake to steal time, and how he aids them in helping get Slide back into the present. And like I said, in doing so, after the whole fiasco with Clockwork, what we get is that while Clockwork is now coming back as a full atomic robotic arch nemesis for his final fiendish five, to finally succeed in what he believes in destroying the Cooper clan. The secret ending is that he creates a long line of genetic of children instilled with hatred for the Cooper clan. And he builds himself up to become this next new arch nemesis that he is in Sly Cooper 1 and 2. And that's my story idea for Sly Cooper 5, A Blast from the Past. I hope it was pretty good and decent. I'm sorry it was all over the place because I forgot a few things. But hey, it's just an idea, a game idea. Thanks for watching.